TV tonight.
Thank you, Edward Muhomes. Now, Uganda's current second National Development Plan, NDP2, expires at the end of June 2020. And the third National Development Plan, that will be 3, should be in place by September 2019 to guide the budget strategy for the financial year 2020 and 2021. Now, as part of the efforts to inform the formulation of the third National Development Plan, the United Nations Development Programme, in partnership, of course, with the National Planning Authority, have organized a weekly breakfast policy series between July and August 2019. Each meeting will be shaped by an issue note articulating strategic issues relevant to the NDP3 process, and an outcome document submitted to the NDP3 drafting team for consideration. Joining me tonight is the chairperson of the National Planning Authority, Professor Pamela Mbabasi. It's an honor to have you tonight.
Thank you.
All right, I'll start with the simplest thing. Uganda is soon concluding on the implementation of the second National Development Plan. And what lessons have we learned in NDP1 and NDP2, the implementation, and how are these lessons informing the strategies of NDP3?
Thank you very much. Good evening, viewers. The National Planning Authority is spearheading the formulation of the National Development Plan 3. Okay. And in our process of formulation of this plan, we've had to undertake a mid-term review of the past concluding National Development Plan 2, but also the end of term review of National Development Plan 1, but we've also undertaken some diagnostic studies of different sectors and reviewed a number of documents, both in government but also from development partners, and these have taught us 3 key lessons that I'd like to highlight. One is the misalignment between planning and budgeting, and this we also have learned the second lesson, which is essentially that we do plan very well, but we fail to implement. And this is largely because of the silo approach in government that does not allow the coordination between sectors. True. And the third lesson that we have learned is that there has been previously a withdrawal of the state from largely the productive sectors. And this is also manifest. It's well manifested in the progress that we seem to have seen in more the social quality of life indicators, which seem to have improved over the recent past. And when you get to the productive, the growth and income indicators, you see that there's been a reverse. In cases, say, poverty has gone up in the country. There's a more increase in income inequality. And these 3 key lessons are informing what is prioritizing, or what we are prioritizing in National Development Plan 3. And some of the new innovative areas that we are proposing in NDP3 is the program approach to planning, which is going to ensure that different parts or different sectors of government work together, and the different stakeholders, including our development partners, to address the key challenges we're facing as a country and come together to see how these can be addressed. But also, particularly, we are suggesting an enhanced role of the state, because previously you see that the state has withdrawn mainly from investment in the productive sectors, and we're saying the state needs to come back, particularly in sectors like the banking industry, which has witnessed a massive increase in inclusion in interest rates, averaging to about 23. We've seen also industry, for instance, where much of investments are in processing as opposed to manufacturing, and we're saying government needs to come in. No country the world over has been able to transform and grow, particularly in the industrial sector, without investing in iron and steel. We have deposits in Muko. We would like to see that the state comes in to propel progress in there. And we feel that this will, the increase in investment, particularly in improving our industrial sector, will require our development of industrial parks. You see much of the industry is concentrated, for instance, in Kampala. We would like to see them across the country.
Yeah.
So we're saying the state needs to come back and really direct some of the affairs in the state.
Well, there you go. Professor, just to take me a little bit, you've explained the innovation issues. I actually am astounded about that. It means we're actually on a progressive scale.
Correct.
Could you please explain more about the proposed parish model implementation approach in NDP 3?
Right. So in the parish model, parish model really enables government to come closer to the people. What we are suggesting is that the government should focus on the parish as the planning and logistical hub for providing direct support to households in terms of agriculture inputs, post-harvest handling and storage, as well as financial services, administration and planning. The Ministry of Local Government has completed recruitment of parish chiefs who will be the focal persons at this level to oversee government programs. So we're saying come down from the district and let's approach and help households and communities, because the focus is really about increasing household incomes and welfare of the average Ugandan. So we want government to be felt at the parish level.
I understand. Because of time, how are we going to fund this, the financing question? How are we going to fund the NDP 3?
I think there are several strategies we're coming out with. One is to be more efficient with the way we utilize the funding we have. The program-based approach is going to help us coordinate better as government, but also promoting foreign direct investments. Reducing the cost of doing business in this country is going to go a long way in attracting funding. We're also suggesting we need to align our plan to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals to enable us access funding, climate change funding that is available out there. We're also saying government needs to develop our capital markets to mobilize more funding, but we also want to use blended financing so that we can do more of PPPs, use mixed equity, maybe with loans. De-risking agriculture is also one way that we can then enable credit to be accessed, but also introducing diasporic bonds to enable Ugandans in the diaspora to also participate in the development of our country.
Well, that seems much more exciting. Professor Pamela, your last word on this, because I understand these breakfast meetings are still ongoing.
Yes.
What could be your last word tonight?
Before I give my last word, I would like to thank the UNDP, but also our different development partners that have stepped in to help us ensure that we consult Ugandans. And Ugandans have been very responsive. They're telling us what they would like to see as part of the key priorities in our NDP3. And we've been able to articulate that the key goal of our National Development Plan 3 will be increasing incomes, competitiveness and employment, particularly for our young people. And we hope that we will be able to tell government and ensure that we break down silos and work together. Because unless we work together as a country, we want every Ugandan to feel a part and parcel of this Development Plan 3. We want to intensify, we were calling for intensifying efforts to fight corruption, and we also want to ensure that everybody is part of the implementation of this plan. We want civil society, we want the private sector, we want our development partners, we want every average Ugandan to be a part of this. And this is why we've gone an extra mile to really engage and get that and ensure that everybody's part and parcel of this thinking process. So I'm calling upon us all as Ugandans to really feel more encouraged. Our goal is about transforming our society so that by 2040 we can have our middle income country of a GDP per capita that is 9,600, and I'm sure we can do it. It is a huge goal that we are setting ourselves, but we can achieve it. But we need to work together, break down the silos and ensure that we really move together in the right direction.
Oh, there you have it. That is Professor Pamela Mbabazi, the chairperson, National Planning Authority, Uganda. Well, you and I need to be a part of this from the grassroots level to the national level. That will take us for a break, and TV Tonight continues shortly.